channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than the type of content that I usually do, just because I wanted to spice things up a little bit. I just wanted to do something different. Today's video is going to be a get ready with me. I have to do my hair and I have to do my makeup. Stick around and listen to me yap while I do those things. I actually don't really know a whole lot about like doing makeup and stuff like that, just because the way that I was raised, my mom never did her makeup, and I feel like a lot of South Asian girls can relate to that. Like, the only reason why I actually started doing makeup was because I was doing dance in high school, and it was like Bollywood South Asian dance. That was my first instance of ever actually having to like do my makeup. First thing that I'm gonna start with is to put aloe on my face. I use that as primer. It's probably not a good idea. I mean, I don't know. But I find that that works best for me. But honestly, if I'm gonna be so real, I haven't used aloe on my face before like doing makeup in a while. It's been a bit. But back to what I was saying. Like, growing up, the mom who didn't really do her makeup or anything, getting dropped into like the dance circuit, like especially like South Asian dance, and then having to figure out like how to do my own makeup was the most like humbling thing ever. I remember like being told like, oh, you need gold eyeshadow, you need gold eyeshadow blush, and you need eyeliner, and I was like, I have zero of those things. Like, I remember asking my mom and she was like, I don't do my makeup, like I don't have any of those things. So we had to go to the store and we bought like a generic like makeup kit thing that had like literally everything you could need, but it was like for a preteen, you know what I mean? And guess what? I still use that palette, those like little mini palettes to this day. Why? Because I don't do my makeup well enough. And actually recently I just started using brushes to do my makeup. I know, I used to just like use my finger to like put my eyeshadow on, but I'm trying out like different eyeshadow looks, so the brushes are coming in handy. First thing, I'm gonna wet my beauty blender and I'm gonna use concealer. I actually, like, my makeup routine is actually like fairly simple. I don't do it every day because I don't have all the time in the world. Or at least, I'm just lazy basically. But I use the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer in Golden Amber. So I just do concealer, eyeshadow, a little bit of blush, and then eyeliner and kajal. The main thing that's going to take the longest is doing my hair because I want to straighten it. I am not like a full coverage girl at all. Like, I don't put foundation on because I can't find a shade that fits me, and I don't want to buy two shades that I have to mix together. I just feel like it's too much work, and I also like hate the feeling of foundation on my face. I kind of feel like I'm psychotic sometimes because I do have the tendency to just like talk while I do things and just like talk about my day or whatever, and there's like literally nobody here. I'm just talking to nobody but myself, just like without the camera. So now that I'm actually deciding to do make videos, I'm like, okay, let me actually decide to set the camera up and do it. Going to college was a really humbling experience for me. And the only reason why I'm talking about college is because I feel like I'm still like fresh out of undergrad, I would say. So me being outside of undergrad has given me a lot of time to like process the experiences that I had in college, and spending time with like a lot of my friends in undergrad made me realize that our experiences were totally different. And I had that realization like in college as well, that I'm like, my college experience is completely different than everybody else's. The institution that I went to was very, very close to where I live, so I commuted my 4 years of undergrad. That, and we got back to school the year immediately after COVID, but we all had like masks in school. I remember my freshman year of college, we all wore masks. I knew that like going into college, I wanted to join a dance team, and I knew which dance team that I wanted to join, but I didn't go to college like specifically for dance. Like, I changed my path from whatever I was like destined to do by like my parents in high school. I switched it to do something that I wanted to do. So originally I started off in high school with the path to eventually make it to computer science. I'm using this like nude palette that I got from that little set I was talking about. This is probably expired makeup, like all of this is probably expired makeup except for my concealer because I actually did buy a new one. But this is probably all expired makeup, but it hasn't like messed up my skin at all. Yeah, I could not tell you the brand or anything because there isn't like anything on it. I put put this color on. This is the only color that I really use out of here. But I just put that as like an eyeshadow base. I've been using this brown shade. Oh wait, it's from the Color Institute. So I've been using this like brown shade. It's like a maroony type of shade. It's a little bit red in there. And then this orange at the bottom. Like I've been mixing these and trying to like make a nice little gradient and then go like on the inside with gold or something like that. Mostly because I'm just trying to find like the natural color that works best for like my eyelid. I used to use, this is a rose, but like two of the shades fell out. But it's like a pink and then an orange. And the pink and orange used to show up on my eyes really well. And I think like as a brown girly just starting out makeup, pink works really well on our skin. At least if you have like skin that's very similar in color to mine. So I'm using this random brush. There's lore about this brush, but I'm not gonna get into the lore about it. But it is from Naruto and it's a kunai. So I thought it was really cool. I have like a whole set of these like makeup brushes, but I never actually use them because I never like found my use to using makeup brushes. It might look like garbage at first, but once I put that setting spray on, she locks in. Now I forgot where I was in my story about college. I think I was talking about how, literally at the beginning. So we started like the year after COVID. So the year that they let everybody go back to school, but we had to like social distance. By the way, in high school, I was such an extrovert. Like I felt like everybody knew who I was, or it was like very easy for me to like talk to people and socialize and make friends. Like I had a really good friend group in high school, and that like really helped to get me through, especially because of COVID. The caveat with that is that once you get out of that and you guys like go your separate ways, obviously you don't have those people in your life anymore. We all went to like different schools, and the one friend that I was like the closest to, she went to the same school as me. But she decided to continue with computer science, which is the path that I set up for myself being in the last 2 years of high school. That was the path that I set up for myself. But then like going into college, I was like, this is not what I want to do. The reason why I made that decision was because in high school and stuff, I only did computer science because that's what like my parents like pushed me to do, because that's what worked best for my older brother. And I thought like, okay, that's what I have to do. But then like going into college, I'm paying all this money to do this school. Like I would rather do something that I actually enjoy. I went ahead and chose my own major. I majored in kinesiology, which is a fancy way of saying exercise science. And it was because I was a dancer and because I liked teaching and I liked choreographing, and I was like, maybe I can make this into like personal training or something like that. Like just having like anatomical knowledge when it comes to doing something that's so anatomy focused is what I thought was super duper important. So that's the field that I went to, and then I eventually, like going into it, I was like, I'll just become a PT. And I saw all of the requirements that came with PT, and I was like, I'm not doing that. So I completed my regular undergraduate degree, and then in like the last years of undergrad, so I would say like the end of junior year into senior year was when I was like, okay, I'm gonna do PTI, which is physical therapy assistant. It's just getting into a program and doing 2 extra years of school and getting your license and obviously doing your rotations and whatnot. At this point, it's about like sustaining my life. And I'm like, as long as I can sustain my life and make enough money to do so, I'll be okay. And I can pursue my hobbies. And I think that's how a lot of Gen Z feels nowadays, where it's like, we try so hard to like have passions. People go into healthcare for like a multitude of different reasons. Obviously some people go in because it's like obviously I want to help people. But then like a big part of that is I need to make money. It sucks that like there are other professions that pay way more than like doctors and nurses get paid. You have to do like a residency and all this other stuff, right? Just for like an actor to get paid more than you, like that's so like atrocious. And I definitely understand why younger generations are like, I'm just gonna become an influencer, because at this point, that's kind of the pipeline, because that to them is like easy money. Me choosing to do my own path is a mixture of me being like, okay, I'm trying to be reasonable with my parents in terms of like what I want to do, mixed with I'm gonna find a way to make this work, so I'm doing what I want to do, you know? A lot of brown girls or just brown people in general, I feel like we have so many expectations put on us by our parents to do certain things, and sometimes it does come from like a good place. Like I'm so happy that my parents like genuinely pushed education onto us like growing up, because I feel like it definitely did help me out in the end, despite like the amount of trauma that caused. But seeing like how kids are now when it comes to education, I'm like, you guys are complaining about like writing a 5-paragraph essay when we had to write like 3 5-paragraph essays in an hour for like AP tests. Kids don't want to do that now. You guys have no like literary skills. Kids can't read, kids can't write anymore. Kids don't want to read and write anymore. It makes me feel so grateful for the education that I had. My parents also put me in like tutoring as a kid. Kumon to me was more traumatic than the other tutoring that my parents put me in, because after Kumon we went to a different tutoring center. That one was better than Kumon just because I feel like Kumon is very repetitive. Like I think when I went to Kumon I was already good at math, but I wanted to get better at reading. I'm not sure if at the time Kumon was only reading and math or like what it is now. I'm not sure if it's like all the subjects. Like I was like decently good at math. It was just reading and like reading comprehension that was like really getting to me. And I remember in 3rd grade like reading passages and then having no idea what I just read. I could read a piece of text and it's not like clicking in my brain. Like, I would like get like horrible grades when it came to like reading comprehension because I couldn't comprehend what I had to read. Okay, so I finished my eyeshadow, I think. It's the dark maroon on the outside and then gold on the inside and like a shimmer more towards the inside. You guys remember when, I don't even know if this is like a thing in school anymore, but like when you would get bullied for being like too smart. I had the privilege of going to an elementary and middle school that was very diverse, and I was so happy to be exposed to different cultures and people at such an early age, because that really helps build like who you are as a person and your level of empathy towards other people. But on the flip side to that, I grew up hating my culture because I went to a school where there was nobody like me, and I basically got bullied for being like the odd one out. I'm doing my eyeliner now. I'm using the e.l.f. eyeliner, the liquid one, because this one is the one that works the best for me. I haven't found another liquid eyeliner that does it for me. I have 2. One is kind of dried out and I use that to like make an outline, and then another one is like actually liquid so I can fill it in. Okay, I can work with that. I'm gonna use this mirror to help me because I can't like see without like I have to put my elbow down. Like I can't freehand like without doing it. I have to set my elbow down somewhere in order for this to work. I don't know how people film like Get Ready With Me's and then they like stay on topic. Like I feel like this entire video I've gone off on tangents on things and then never actually came back to like the main topic. But that's honestly how my brain works. Like, okay, my eyeliner is done as decently as I could get it. Honestly, it's not that bad. That next thing that I'm gonna do kajal. I just used the Maybelline Define a Line in Ebony Black. This is actually the first eyeliner that I ever got. I kept it around and like I stopped using it after like the first use. But then it found a new purpose and it was becoming my kajal. So should I be putting such like expired makeup so close to my face? Probably not. But does it still work and doesn't harm me? Absolutely. Last and final step, setting spray. Next, I'm gonna be straightening my hair. I'm using the Wavy Talk thermal brush. to do this. I got this a while back and I've used it a couple times and sort of got the hang of it, but I wouldn't necessarily say I make like a blowout look. This is the first like model, I think, of the wavy top. So I'm gonna put it on the second setting and I'm gonna just wait for it to heat up. I need to brush my hair because I want the brush to just glide right through. So I'm gonna use the leave-in conditioner that I have. This is just the Garnier Petite one, the normal one. I'm putting it in without water because when you use the wavy top, your hair is supposed to be dry. When working with like wavy or like curly hair, you're not supposed to brush it. There's no like water in it. I'm gonna use the Heritage Heat Protectant Spray. Now this one is for wet hair since I usually use it before diffusing my hair, but we're just gonna put it on anyways and just glide it through my head. So that did sort of kind of help actually. Less frizzy. I know I've kind of like stopped the yapping portion and I'm kind of just explaining what I'm doing now, and that's because I'm like really locked in. There's a technique to doing this. I'm not an expert at said technique, but I try my best. I'm gonna go up just this much and then I'm gonna just let it chill here for a bit. And this is the tricky part. Unraveling the hair. Okay. Slay. Very cute. Okay. I'll work with that. See, I'm not like really picky. I feel like it'll just work out. That's how I feel about using this brush. Everything will always work out. That's an affirmation to give to yourself. And that's my outlook on life, is that everything will work out. Like I have dreams and goals and aspirations, and definitely with like the current state of the country, it seems like that's impossible. Or like I feel like there's such this like rush to have your life completely figured out like once you're 18 basically, or like once you're in college. It's like, oh yeah, you should already know what you want to do, and it's like, girl, no. Like I'm still out of college and I'm like contemplating if the path that I've chosen for myself is still the same path that I want to do. It's like imposter syndrome. I think that's what it is. But back to what I was saying, how nowadays it feels like everyone thinks that they have to have their life together. That's how I felt my entire life. I had to have like a solid plan like for the rest of my life since I was like 10 years old, I think, or even younger than that. There's this expectation for you to already know what you want to do, or like there's always these like expectations already set out for you, like you're gonna be a doctor, a lawyer, yada yada yada. A lot of times parents say that without knowing how much work actually goes into getting into those professions. Yes, it makes a lot of money, and that's really a lot of what they're focused on, because it is true that in this country, in this world, money is how you get places. Like I fully disagree with anyone that says, oh, money can't buy you happiness. Girl, I would be thriving right now. Like a lot of my problems would go away if I had enough money. Also, speaking of money, when people have a whole lot of money, a whole lot of power, a whole lot of influence, and they don't use it for the right things, they use it for selfish reasons, or it's like, I'm afraid that like I'm gonna get caught, or I'm gonna lose this brand deal, or if you're afraid of losing a brand deal for speaking out for what's right, then maybe you shouldn't be working with that brand in the first place. Rich people have the opportunity to help out in so many ways with the way things are going about right now, but instead it's like, no, we're gonna tax the poor. Like, if I had so much money where it's like I didn't have to worry about going broke, or I didn't have to worry about any expenses or anything, I'd be making donations. I'd be trying to help out as much as I can, because you have so much privilege and power. Use the platforms that you have to speak out about things that actually require, attention. I just have this thing of like, oh my god, it's gonna ruin my image and yada yada yada. Why are you so worried about Kim, there are people dying. Why do we make certain people famous if we don't consider their morals and values and stuff like that? Because people like to say like, they're a musician, they're an actor, they're this, they're that. Like, what do they have to do with whatever's happening like in news? They are people with power, with influence. They 100% have to do with what's happening in the news. Like, they could, the amount of good that they could do, and people choose to stay quiet. This is the first side. Done. Can you even see that with the, here we go. This is the first side, done. I think it's pretty cute. There's just a tiny little curl at the end. That's what I like to do rather than like a blowout type of look, because I don't think the blowout would like work on my hair because I have like longer hair, so I think the curls are a little bit better. Okay, we're starting the second side. Remember when I said I would get back to yapping, and then I actually haven't done that. But I think the last thing I was talking about was growing up in a school where, yes, there was a whole lot of diversity, but there wasn't a whole lot of diversity, as in like other South Asian people. I think I was the only like South Asian person like in my grade. That's like, people didn't really take bullying that seriously back then, compared to how they do now. Like now it's like you can't bully anybody, or it's like you're gonna get canceled. But bullying definitely did build character development, I would say. You can tell who's been bullied as a kid and who wasn't, or like who had like super harsh, like either bullied by other people in school or bullied by their own parents. Like you can tell who actually had a strict life growing up, because that plays into who they are now. I think a better way to word whatever I was saying earlier is, you can tell like who grew up having strict discipline versus who grew up with parents that were more like free range. I definitely grew up with parents on the more stricter side. That led me to having very hyper independent tendencies, but at the same time, those tendencies are what allowed me to get things done. I had to stop caring about what other people thought. That included like friends, people around me, my family. Because I know at the end of the day, like, things are gonna work out. It's just hard when people that you know are supposed to support you don't support what you do. But I think that's the collective Brown experience of trying to step out of that sort of environment. Sometimes you have to disappoint. They're gonna forget about it. You know, when like you're in like geography class and then it gets to like South Asia and they have all this information given to you, and like the teacher is talking about something completely like off textbook, and you're like, this isn't true, like this isn't what I do. Or it's like, it's very like stereotypical Indian culture, and you're like, okay, maybe like other people in India do this, but I don't do this. Because India has so many different like cultures and languages, and you know, like we all don't do the same thing. It's completely different. I hated when I was like the only person that people looked to when we're talking about South Asia. Or I remember, this is a very niche thing, but maybe it's not niche. I remember when Columbus Day would roll around and then we're talking about Native Americans, but back then everyone called them Indians because Christopher Columbus was stupid and thought that when he got to America, he got to India. In reality, he got to America. So he called the Native Americans Indians. So whenever that was mentioned in school, like, because they called the Native Americans Indians, I always thought they were talking about me. So me trying to understand, like, Christopher Columbus discovering America, it was so difficult for me to understand because I'm like, I'm Indian, but I don't ever remember hearing this story or anything. Like, who is this man? Like, am I like the Indian they're talking about? Like, why are you guys talking about me like that when like their culture looks absolutely nothing like the culture that we have, you know? And that's because they're two different things. But yeah, even hearing Indians like in that Christopher Columbus context, people would think it's referring to me, and then people would continue to make fun of it because I was the odd one out. So growing up, I despised like my culture, and I never wanted to show it, especially like when we had Halloween. Oh my god. And I would always dress up in like cultural clothes, which is fine, you know what I mean? Like obviously now it's like, oh my god, yes, representation, like learn to like teach your kids to love their culture. But growing up in that environment where like the only people that would actually like praise you for doing something like that were your teachers, it's embarrassing as a kid because like the people who critique you the most are your friends and your peers. Hearing from them and being like, are you Princess Jasmine? When I'm wearing like a pink lehenga, bro, like to school. Girl, can I be somebody other than Princess Jasmine? By the way, Princess Jasmine isn't even like an accurate princess when it comes to like representing like South Asians. Like it's like a combination of every single like brown person there is, and people are like, there's your representation. Like I remember having a conversation with somebody in high school, and when I got to high school is when I like fully like I got a fresh start on life because it was a new school, new people. I had new friends. I could make new impressions, and there were more South Asian people, and I was like, oh my god, I feel so represented. So I remember getting into a conversation with somebody in one of my classes, and they were like, you do have a Disney princess, it's Jasmine. And it's like, don't you feel like you have representation because Jasmine is there? And I'm like, no. I feel like when they made Aladdin, they didn't think, they just like grouped every brown person into a single category, and they were like, here you go. That's like South Asian, Middle Eastern culture all put into one, and then having you be like, this is an accurate representation of you. Who are you to tell me what is an accurate representation of me? In high school, I definitely learned to have a voice for myself, and I found like a group of like, I was more like in tune with culture because I was dancing. So I felt more pride for my culture, and I wanted to share it with people because I'm a dancer, like that's what I do. And now I can like freely talk about it and defend it without feeling like, oh, this is something to be like embarrassed about. Because it's not something to be embarrassed about. And I feel like a lot of South Asian kids grow up feeling embarrassed about their culture. Remember when Tyla did her tour and she went to India, and then everyone on TikTok was like, oh my god, I didn't know that there were like baddies in India. I didn't know there could be like an Indian baddie. Like bro, are you dumb? Are you dumb? Are you stupid? Are you dumb? There's so many beautiful South Asian women out there. I finished both sides. One side definitely looks better than the other, but you know, it's okay. Speaking of like the racism that happens towards South Asians, a big part of that is just like not considering South Asian people Asian. The amount of times I've told people I'm Asian and they're like, no you're not, you're from the Indian subcontinent. Who are you to tell me where I'm from? Who are you to tell me where I'm from? Also, subcontinent? Girl, what are we doing? Look at a map. Look at a map. Like, did you go to geography class? First of all, recognize that India is a country in Asia. Therefore, I am Asian. And some people may say that it's not that deep, but it really is that deep because it applies to every other culture, race, except for my people. And that's just not like Indian people, that's like South Asian people, like that's our whole bubble. Did I get off topic a whole lot? For sure. Did I dive into a deeper topic that I didn't expect myself to get into? For sure. See, I don't really know how to like style my bangs. Because I have wavy hair, it's like really hard to like style bangs. My bangs are always like the toughest part for me to do. This is what she looks like immediately after. I do want to put a bow in my hair because I think it would be cute, although this is giving very much like baddie vibes. Does that look, that looks kind of ugly. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up really quick because my camera's about to die. I'm gonna put a bow in my hair, and this is what I ended up going with for the hairstyle. Okay, bow is in the hair. I think it looks adorbs. There's what it looks like. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Adorable, adorable. This is what the makeup looks like. Okay, well that was my get ready with me. I've done my makeup, I've done my hair, and I think it looks decently cute. If you liked this style of content, please let me know and I will film more. Clearly I can't stay on topic for things, but that's okay. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.